ban.
And we're back. We're winding down the day, believe it or not. Already past the halfway point. Our next to last match of the day. We got two amateur teams taking each other on. Typical Mistakes, North American squad, taking on the predominantly Argentinian squad of Pain International. Now, Pain just in action against Dignitas, and as many teams do, lost pretty quickly. Took them about 30 minutes. But again, it's just to reiterate the point that I've continued to make on almost every broadcast we have. It's so important for the development of these teams for them to be able to play against professional level talent in a consistent manner. A lot of these teams have played against the other squads, have played against, I'm sure, Evil Geniuses, Team Liquid, Dignitas, etc., like in Star Ladder in the defense. But to have, a North American specific league where we have a group stage and we're going to have the playoffs and all that, and everyone's going to be involved in one form or another. It's a longer league for them to actually test their talent over time against the pro teams. And even when they lose and lose ugly, I really hope that the teams themselves, as well as the viewers, don't take that as these teams are bad or they're not on the same level, certainly. And that's kind of half the point of the league. That's Sean's vision in launching this league, is the idea of helping the scene develop. And the way you do that is with ground up tournaments like this, where it's okay. Now this is focused entirely on one geographic area, the Western Hemisphere, and North and South America more specifically. But and there are going to be some beatdowns. We've already seen a couple here today. But even those beatdowns, I think, are of value to these teams as they learn to develop, and they're going to come away from those matches. There you go. Well done, Bruno. But they're going to come away from those matches, I think, having picked some things up that are going to justify their time, and they're going to get better because of it. So anyway, moving into this match, not going to be an example of that, as it is going to be, again, two amateur teams, Pain Gaming and Typical Mistakes. And, amateur so often is used as a pejorative. I guess what I mean by that, because, Pain Gaming is technically, sponsored, I guess. I'm not sure if there's any money involved, but regardless, they're just not teams that are playing consistently at a high level. You know what I mean? So, again, just making sure my language is clearly understood. Typical Mistakes, a very talented, again, North American squad. Had the pleasure of broadcasting them a couple of times so far. And then Pain Gaming, who has played quite a lot so far here in the ADL. Pain Gaming currently sitting at 0-3 in the standings, as Dignitas again took that win, improving their record to 3-0. Typical Mistakes, on the other hand, split their first two appearances 1-1. So they're not in too bad a shape. With the EO and Lone Druid ban out, that frees up Gyro and Lifestealer, two heroes that work really, really well together. Typical Mistakes, though, landed themselves a bad rider after banning the PL and the Darkseer. And able to get a Shadow Demon to go with it. Shadow Demon, an excellent answer to both the Gyro and the Lifestealer. Lifestealer in particular. Shadow Demon just completely shuts down Lifestealer's initiation process. You can Demonic Purge through Magic Immunity, make sure he's slow, has trouble getting on top of his target, and then just disrupt any target he does happen to get on top of. And the Gyrocopter, honestly, for Typical Mistakes, they're going to get a Magnus. I was going to say they can honestly grab a Bane, and it would be totally justified. Having a Bane and a Shadow Demon against a Gyrocopter and Lifestealer gives them two of the best heroes in the entire game at individual lockdown. And against two heroes who hate that, who can't stand that. No hero does, but some of the tankier ultra late game carries, like heroes who are usually going to build like an earlier Heart, Phantom Lance, or whatever, it's a big deal, but not as big a deal as it is against those two. Because mobility is such a part of how they have to be played. The Lifestealer has to be able to get in and out of fights a lot more efficiently, and you're starting to see a lot of Sange and Yasha builds on Lifestealer. It's been that way for a while now. It always was viable, but more and more carries are coming along to the idea that the Lifestealer really can benefit a lot from a build that's oriented on that item, instead of just rushing straight up Armlet and then trying to do something cheesy like a Deso, for example. Typical Mistakes, though, going to have two of the best initiators in the entire game. The Bad Rider, most likely not going to end up in mid. Mag will probably find himself placed there with the Bad in the offlane and or jungle. And then all they'll need to round out their lineup is going to be another support and a carry. For Pain, pretty wide open. It's The gyro can go mid if they want. You've even seen stuff like long lane lifestealer. They can build an offensive tri lane around that lifestealer if they want to, and that might be a direction they want to go. And typical mistakes right now, the only issue I really see is, I mean, they've got Lasso and they're going to have the burn damage from Firefly as well as Flame Break, but they're lacking in damage right now. Magnus, I mean, RP does some and Shockwave's okay, but compared to Pain Gaming with Call Down, Rocket Barrage, Call Down and Rocket Barrage in particular out of the Gyrocopter for AoE, Lifestealer's ability to focus fire one target, unless the Shadow Demon's on top of his game, could be problematic. But Rubik got to round out that front three, and again, they still very much have the option to try to build an offensive tri lane if they want. Typical mistakes actually going to be the guys who ban out the clock, just nowhere to put him. They would have worked in their lineup as well, so nowhere for them to put him. And a great counter to both Lifestealer and Gyrocopter for the same reasons that any hero who can close distance quickly is. Just be, again, the mobility of those heroes, really the key factor. And they're going to even take out the Warlock as well. So an interesting ban. Anti-Mage banned out by Pain, just not wanting to give TA or TM any real late game carry potential. Probably going to take him out. See, we got the fan line, so the Druid's already out. Luna would probably be a really good ban for them. And maybe even a Juggernaut. Well, they don't really have anywhere to put the Jug's the problem. And yeah, Jakiro, another team fight hero. So moving in that general direction. But looking at the way these lineups are going to function, this is probably going to be, I would imagine, a busier game in the early stages. 15, 20 minutes in, I'd be really quite stunned if Typical Mistakes isn't really putting their lineup through its paces. They're going to have a lot of aggressive potential out of the bat and Mag. If Mag has a good time in mid, he'll have a relatively well-timed Blink Dagger. The bat, under just about any circumstances, really should be able to get a Blink Dagger at a pretty good timing, just because of how quickly he can farm the jungle, even if he does fall behind. So once both of those heroes have Blink Daggers, like I don't expect them to play on their side of the map very much. Even if they do farm and split push, they'll still be putting pressure on elsewhere. And Pain is going to have this weird window of opportunity, or window of liability, I guess, probably the better way to say it. They have this weird window of liability when Gyrocopter does fall off a bit, and unless the lifesteal just goes bonkers and just gets off to a phenomenal start, even he's going to feel a little iffy. They'll probably do something like Phase Boots or Phase Boots Armlet, and then after that, whatever they prefer. Could go Phase Boots Drums. The issue with going Phase Boots Drums against this kind of a lineup is I feel like it is going to leave you a little open in that period I'm talking about, when Gyrocopter's magic damage, while still good, is no longer just enough to blow up 2 or 3 heroes at once. It just falls off a bit. And if the Lifestealer isn't ready to start picking up the slack and damage while the Gyrocopter shifts his build or shifts his focus to building right-click damage, then there's going to be a huge window where Typical Mistakes can just run them over with nothing but pure initiation potential. They do need some more magic damage, make no mistake. And Pain Gaming is aware of everything I've just said. I mean, you see them ban out the Anti-Mage, but the Jakiro and Kuka bans are very much in line with everything I just said, because those are heroes who can do a lot of damage in an AoE. Those are heroes who, even with the magic immunity of Lifestealer, even with a relatively quick BKB out of Gyrocopter, just going to be very big liabilities for both of them. So waiting to see what TM is going to grab to round out their lineup and set the pace. The Luna was not banned. I think Luna is going to be one of the better choices they have available to them right now. Maybe even a Spectre could work. And Shadow Demon will be paired with Lesh once again. And if I see that and I'm Pain, I'm not going to feel super comfortable offensively tri-laning against that. It can go wrong way too quickly. And they may have been moving in that direction. I mean, the way to run a Lifestealer Gyrocopter the most efficiently, they don't have a mid, so they can't just run the Gyro mid against the Mag, and he'll do quite fine there. He'll be able to harass the Mag with Flat Cannon. But, one of the more effective ways is to go Lifestealer into the offensive tri-lane, send the Gyro to the solo safe lane, and let him farm one-on-one against the off lane of the other team. And then try to get a damage dealer in mid, a Queen of Pain, a TA, etc. And doesn't look like that's going to be the case here as they pick up the Keeper of the Light. I mean, they could still try to offensively tri-lane this, and it can work. It can work just fine.
Reserve time.
But it is going to be pretty
5
important that they
seconds
never be out of
remaining.
position. No matter what carry, yeah, there's that Luna pick. Luna best available, really not hard to predict. But yeah, the offensively tri-laning into that, that's a very strong offensive tri-lane of its own. And if I'm typical mistakes, if the only issue is there's no real good reason to solo lane the Bat. But what you can do, what they might do actually, is put a tri-lane together, a Bat Rider, Leshrac, and Shadow Demon. I've seen that done. And then solo safe lane the Luna with Mag in mid. And tri-lane Bat's actually surprisingly good. The only issue I'd have with it is their damage is a little lacking. Just because, Shadow Demon, when you look at Shadow Demon, he himself doesn't put out a lot of damage. But Soul Catcher certainly ups the damage done overall. Storm Spirit rounding out the 5 for Pain. That'll be their mid. And yeah, we'll see how they want to end up trying to lane this out.
Prepare
To begin,
for
though, we will go ahead and run through our lineups. See who's going to be handling who. Thanos Soyun is going to be playing on our Luna. Leshrac going to be played by I Am a Sheep. Bad Rider going to be played by Cakes. Magnus going to be handled by Ryu. And Shadow Demon going to be played by Pendago. On the other side of the river, we got Mill playing on the Rubik. Stormseer going to be played by Gambetta. Keeper of the Light handled by TT. Lifestealer played by Aftershock. And the Gyrocopter going to be farmed up by 9999. And it looks like, yeah, both teams just going to take it easy. Gyro will be solo farming, so they are going to offensively tri-lane this. And this is either going to go really well or really bad. A couple of good illuminates, get into the jungle. They'll be able to steal farm from the pole camp just by illuminating in that direction.
30 seconds to battle.
But, this piece of real estate right here is going to be very, very important for that Keeper of the Light. He's really going to be thriving if he can get over here with the creep wave right about here. That's where he's going to be wanting to do a lot of work. So creep equilibrium for both teams. Going to be very, very important. But let's see. They're leaving for the moment. We'll see. I'm sure they're going to come back, though. I don't think they're anticipating this. Bad Rider will be in the off lane up against the Gyro now. The Gyro matchup here. Let's see. Storm Spirit, Lifestealer, win rate. There you go. 52% win percentage. Bruno Shostakovich, our stats guy, keeping us informed. Always love the Lifestealer with the Storm Spirit, the Nake's Bomb. Lethal as always. One of the more efficient ways to get Nakes into a fight. We're going to see them already beginning to ward. But this matchup up at top, it's going to be a little difficult for the Bat once flat cannon damage starts to take its toll. It just does become difficult. That's actually a good ward there. And yep, they're going to try to counter ward it. And the offensive tri lane showing itself. Now, the Lifestealer should be fine here. Lifestealer is just an impossible, one of the reasons Lifestealer is so good in the offensive tri lane is he feels impossible to engage into. Because unless you kill him immediately, and I just heard Rubik say something to Keeper of the Light. Love those interactions. But I'm pretty sure the Keeper actually said something to begin too. But here we go. This is what I was talking about. Out of position a little bit. Going to be disrupted. Split Earth off the mark. They dodged a bullet there. Probably not, though. Telekinesis buys time. Lucent Beam goes off. Couple of auto attacks. That'll do it. First blood on the board. And they may end up getting Mill. So much damage. And Split Earth off the mark again. But yeah, that makes it 2. And Luna, because of Lunar Blessing, that's why it seems like they're doing so much damage. It's because they're getting an immense amount of bonus damage. Between them, every auto attack is generating 42 bonus damage. Plus 14 on each hero. And just melting down those supports. And now with 2 kills on the board, going to feel very, very difficult to come back forward. Level 1 on the Keeper. Level 1 on the Rubik. Still level 1 on the supports too, so. But they're already beginning to open up that lead. Luna's level 3. The Lifestealer's just level 2. And she can farm so much more confidently now. Supports have to play back, so this tri-lane not going to be working out as well as they would have hoped. But here in mid, Mag taking on the Storm Spirit. Storm should do fine. Mag should do fine. Don't want to flash the camera away too much from this bottom lane. And yeah, just going to come forward and harass that lifestealer. Just look how much damage. Just from pure right click. This is what makes Luna so good in this situation. That's what I was saying when this is a extremely potent offensive tri-lane in its own right. So it does very well against offensive tri-lanes. Lunar Blessing, the range, the fact that it's 3 ranged heroes. And Lucent Beam, a great way to start fights. And it's usually, if you start a fight and you end up making someone retreat, it's a great way to finish a fight whenever they're retreating with just a little bit of health. Range on it is really, really good. And quick pause by Aftershock. Once again, want to welcome each and every one of you into this day's broadcast of the ADL. If you've been here with us from the beginning, you've been enjoying Dota alongside of me. Want to thank Bruno, who's our in-game stats guy, helping us out today and really enjoying what he's popping up. I think it's such an awesome feature. Valve really just always taking steps forward, helping out the broadcasters, helping out the scene, and I'm sure it's just as fun for you guys. But yeah, with this offensive tri-lane, it looks like we are good to go. But with this offensive tri-lane not going as well as they would have hoped, they're going to have to do well in their other lanes. Now, the bat, hey, he's using Maximilian. Maximilian, the D2L courier. But with this tri-lane not going as well as they would hope, it's going to be real important that these other lanes go well. Now, what Gyro is going to be conscious of, and we can already see it, I mean, it's so miserable to try and farm whenever you're getting stacks of sticky napalm to begin with. He's going to be able to deal out some harassment damage with Flak Cannon anyway. Or despite it, rather. But if he ends up with 3 or 4 stacks on him, yeah, like right now is real dangerous for him, actually. At least once the bat becomes level 6. Once the bat hits 6, has lasso, getting that many stacks is probably going to result in him dying. So he's going to have to be real careful. Here in mid, as mentioned, Storm and Mag both should be doing fine, and they are. The Mag's actually kind of pushing him around a bit. 23 to 17 in terms of last hits right now. But this tri-lane is really not going the best. CS for Nakes has fallen off. Luna's has gone up. She's a 14. She's been missing a couple that she should have had to be a little bit higher otherwise. But it's actually stabilizing. I'm a little surprised that they're not pushing the envelope themselves now. A little surprised that typical mistakes isn't, I should say. I feel like they could be playing this a lot more aggressive than they are and zoning Pain out much more effectively. And we're going to see Ryu caught. Vortex back. He's going to need some damage just as Storm hits 6. Doesn't have enough mana to pursue him now. And this is where things get chancy. They're going to come over, try to challenge this cam. Illuminate will get 1 CS. And yeah, Luna's just continuing to farm her little heart out. Missing a couple more. And given you're up under pressure here, that's actually, it's not the end of the world. But missing easy CS when it's a try-on-try and it's up under your tower. And yeah, there's that kill. But that time going the way of Gyro. And it looks like the bat did try to engage, but once he got 4 stacks up, give or take. But the Gyro able to bring him down. Now, the way, whenever you start to break this down, and I'm actually a little surprised that this offensive tri-lane is continuing to hang in here. They should have been bullied out a long time ago. And they're going to come back up. Yeah, this is a lot more than they have any business getting. Luna sitting middle of the pack in terms of CS. The Lifesteal is actually closing ground again. Take a look at the levels. Rubik and Keeper under-leveled, but so is Lesh and the Shadow Demon. And we're going to have a disruption here. Soul Catcher off on Gambetha, who picked up that illusion rune.
Is under attack.
And Gyro will go ahead and TP back up. 6.5 minutes in, 3 kills on the board. Just not a whole lot of pushback here out of this defensive tri-lane. And again, I find that pretty surprising. The Shadow Demon going to go ahead and walk back home just to refill mana. Ryu off to a pretty damn good start, sitting at level 7, and already has his arc boots up as well. The net worth, he's actually topping out on that too. The gyrocopter up atop, managing to survive the onslaught of Zibat, and managing to kill him again. How did I miss that? But yeah, kills the Bat again, and Bat Rider. And now there's going to be Shadow Demon ready to disrupt. And he's going to be barely making it away. Stack of Shadow Poison. Not going to be enough, I don't think. One more. Nope. Not enough. Wouldn't have been enough even with 2. But we're all tied up 2-2. And with the Shadow Demon gone, this tri-lane is getting farm again. The Lifestealer sitting in decent shape. Right on the heels of Luna. And Keeper now level 3, soon to be level 4, can support a lot of mana. With well, he will be able to soon when he gets 2 points in the chakra. Instead, putting his first 2, or getting his first skill into level 2, the Illuminate. He's beginning to put some pressure onto the tower. We are going to have a rotation coming out of the Storm Spirit. He's going to spot out the Bat, bottling himself up, drops a Remnant, and decides to back out. Here comes the rest of Pain. Up at top, still one-on-one with this Bat. Actually, no, the Shadow Demon. Excuse me. Up against this Gyrocopter. Gyro should be able to harass him out pretty easily.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Now, so far as how the Gyro is going to build here, and this is going to be an important question that he has to answer. Anytime there's a Magnus on the other side, BKB is a question that is a little bit more fluid. Generally speaking, you're almost always going to want a BKB, and a very early one, as early as you can on a Gyrocopter. But whenever you know Mag is going to be able to RP you anyway, speaking of, Gambetta RP, clean, and skewered. And Rubik had just rotated over. Ryu able to drop the hammer, get the kill though. But the Gyrocopter, he's going to have to worry about RP regardless. You're going to have Demonic Purge that goes through Magic Immunity, and Lasso goes through Magic Immunity. So is BKB really worth that gold? Or if it is it worth spending 3,900 gold on very early? And when you look at how quickly I think Typical Mistakes team is going to want to fight, I honestly think, especially when you look at their physical damage, or more to the point, lack thereof, that it would be worthwhile, even though you have all these that go through, all of these abilities that go through BKB. Just because you don't want to be burning the death from Edict. You don't want to be burning the death and standing in Firefly Flames. You don't want to be dealing with Pulse Nova or Lucent Beam and Eclipse. Yep, see? Covering that for me. Now we're going to have the engagement onto the Bat. Bat going to be brought back, Vortex back, but the damage done. And Cakes being... Okay, that's the goofiest thing I think I've ever seen. He just chased him straight into fire and burned himself to death. Now we're going to have Gyro showing up and feeding a kill. That was just a bizarre exchange. Just truly bizarre. Lifestealer just ran after a target he was not going to catch, threw fire, burned himself to death, and then died for being out of position. Little lax decision-making. And Pain drops a few. And, you know, I've only cast the Pain a few times. Their decision-making usually much better than that. We're going to have them vortexing the Luna. If they can get a kill here, would certainly help. Lucent Beam does some damage, and they will end up cleaning her up. I'm a Sheep tried to hang around to help his team, and that ends up sealing his fate as well. So the Blink Dagger up on the Mag now. They're going to end up diving the Rubik here under mid. And trying to catch him skewers off the mark. There's a disruption. No react. Nope, there's the reaction. I was going to say no reaction yet. He has an RP if he wants to use it. He might have to. There's a RP into the call down, though. And now here comes the Storm Spirit. Ryu. Next to be killed off. And Pain making up some of that ground. Make it 8-5 now. We're 11.5 minutes in. And 3,000 gold. Just about that same experience going the way of Typical Mistakes. Taking a look at the net worth, they have opened up quite a gulf especially in terms of Magnus.
Radiant's bottom
For this
tower
stage of the
is
game,
under
Mag
attack.
currently almost 2,000 gold ahead of his competitor in mid. So his Blink Dagger is done. And they'll be looking to flash that thing around a little bit, I do believe. Fan of Suanyun taking a little bit of harass down here in bottom. Very, very aggressive warding right now. Coming
Dire's
out
middle
of
tower is under attack.
coming out of pain. Up at top, a little bit of pressure being put on the tower. Mag's there. He will be homing missiled and forced off. And they get behind the tower.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
This offensive tri-lane, again, I should have been under a bit more pressure. They got ahead, they got the kills, then they just fell back. And the O-Tri was able to catch up, stay on par with levels. I think they could have effectively zoned them out much more. Bat's now made his way to mid. He's not far from his Blink Dagger. And those mobility items are really going to open the map up for typical mistakes. In terms of items for the Storm, most likely going to be chasing himself an Orchid. Orchid exactly when he needs to take at least one of those Blink Dagger heroes out of the mix. Jump on top of the Mag, make sure he can't RP. Or grab the, the Bat Rider's more problematic, grab the Bat Rider. And there is the Blink Dagger complete. I'm a sheep and Fan hanging down here for the moment. Tower is at about half health. And I'm a little surprised he didn't just go for it there. But again, very aggressive warding. And they're going to smoke out. Probably try to make something happen here in mid. Bad Rider. Likely target and will be spotted. It was the keeper that saw him. Rubik's there. No telekinesis. That's going to prompt the reaction. One TP coming. That'll be Mag. There's the lasso. Going to go ahead and grab back TT. Flame break. And the Bat should be able to chase him up, chase him down and clean him up. The rest of them are there, but unable to find a target, so the Bat does get the kill. And Mag spots Mill. Will be skewered to the north and cleaned up with a shockwave. Now, Storm Spirit's going to engage right on the sheep. Disrupted, and that saved him almost certainly. As he's forced back again. Down here, you see the TP in from the Lifestealer. Lifestealer will be getting his drums up. Gyrocopter, phase drums as well. Now, this is that question again, where how early do you get a BKB, or do you get a BKB?
Radiant structures are fortified.
And I still think it's well worthwhile. Just because they're so one-dimensional in physical damage.
Radiant's top tower
Just being able to
fallen.
eliminate the rest of that team's damage for X amount of time is huge. And I have a smoke up. Here we go. Typical mistakes. Going to move towards mid. Pain is a little spread out, but it's still in the general vicinity. And this is exactly what I was talking about during the draft. I had to suspect this was coming, and yep, that's a dead Keeper of the Light. And RP's going to be spin as well. They're going to grab the other. So Gambetta, RP by himself, but the damage there to follow it up, get the kill. They may be able to take a tier 2. Now, still haven't used Lasso. And I'm surprised he didn't just go for that there. He's got Blink Dagger ready. That's odd. Yeah, I don't know. He had Lasso, he had Blink Dagger. It was not on cooldown. It would have been fine. I guess just worried that the rest of the team was there and he doesn't have a 4 staff and just tier 1 boots. I mean, that I get, but it seemed like his vision when he was in Firefly would have been high enough. Anyway, regardless, 16 minutes in, 17 kills on the board. 12 of them belong to typical mistakes, as well as a 5,000 gold advantage and the experience. About that big as well in terms of their lead. And seems like both teams happy to just stabilize, but almost every time RP's off cooldown, I expect Ryu and his team to hook up and do something like they just did. There's really no reason for them not to. They need to be trying to find the Lifestealer. Speaking of Lifestealer, he and Storm Spirit are going to have to hook up here soon too. Really start getting the most out of that, because they do have a team that has a decent initiation as well.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
And they're going to go ahead, knowing the RP is on cooldown. They're going to try to force a fight here. RP not on cooldown for much longer, though. About 20 seconds. And Bat's going to go looking for a target. He's going to spot the life stealer and will not be able to catch him. Needs to get himself a better set of boots. They come away wanting. Nothing to show for it. But the mag continues to be tops in farm. Top 3 farmers on the board also belong to Typical Mistakes. And watching this gyro, I think he might be getting a Shadow Blade. 1,700 gold in the bank. And we'll watch and see what item he wants to pick up. Seems like he would have picked one or the other up by now.
Denied.
Smoke upcoming from Typical Mistakes. Gonna try and find themselves a gyro. Rubik's with them now too. And Rubik is gonna rotate in. So if they were watching, they would have seen that Rubik was up there. Down at bottom, fan of Son Yun. Likely getting himself a Yasha. Yasha BKB, a nice approach for him. I don't think there's any question he's going to be wanting a BKB. No doubt about it. They did manage to find the Leshrac kill up at top. And we'll see if they want to push the tower now. Not a whole lot of towers down. Only 2 of them off the board so far. Tier 1 top and Tier 1 mid on the other side. And we're going to have... I just heard it. And Disruption bought him some time. Is going to end up dead. Gyro was there to seal the deal. Bat, fire flying. TP's going to be there. There's going to be an RP. Gambetta skewered back. Can they kill him? They do. Fan Son Yun lands in, is ready to engage. There's the flame break. Beautifully spotted that time. And the Eclipse going to be used. Lifestealer eating a lot of that damage. And Ryu trying to track him down. Keeper's going to try to get him out of trouble, but one shockwave, all it takes to clean it back up. Oh, it mistimed it a bit. But the Lucid Beam again. Talking about Lucid Beam's range, pretty big. Picked him off from long range. 3 down, and I would be stunned if they don't do a Roshan now. They can take a tier 2 if they want. Looks like they want the tier 2. That's why I would be stunned if they don't do a Roshan now. It's gonna be pretty tough for them to get a tier 2 in time. It's a little too late now. I guess maybe they just thought it would be too close anyway. 16-6, Typical Mistakes nonetheless adding to their already substantial lead. Their rotation up the top, tier 1 up here, looks to be the next target.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Gyro did get that Shadow Blade, by the way. Which, you know, and again, I understand it totally. It's totally justifiable whenever you look at how much Typical Mistakes has that goes through Magic Community and goes through BKB. But Luna's damage right now just isn't that scary. I mean, it's good. It's not bad at all. It's 165. But after that, all of their damage is magic. And opting to negate that might be the right call to make. And we're going to have a Nyx bomb dropped on fan of Son Yun. Chasing him back behind the trees, cleaned up, no reaction, but they are going to go ahead and take this opportunity to push in the top tier 2. They're going to end up trading a tier 1 for a tier 2 most likely. They have 3 down here in the bottom.
Radiant's bottom tower is
And
under
Mag
attack.
just cutting the creeps.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
They get the tier 1 quickly. Not going to be able to get to the tier 2 in time to really defend it, though. And they still got 2 kind of pushing there.
Dire's top
Lifestealer,
tower has fallen.
quite low in terms of net worth. Just sitting at 4,800. Behind the Storm, the Bat, Gyro, Luna, all of them. Gyro and Luna are right on top of each other in terms of net worth. And again, if I'm in the shoes of Typical Mistakes, every time RP's off cooldown, I'm going to be pushing. I'm going to be trying to take a tower. I'm going to be trying to make them group up and try to fight me. I mean, in terms of pure late game, Pain, I actually like Pain's team a little bit better. Typical Mistakes is going to be impossible to crack. Like, that's one thing they have going. You get a Bat Rider and a Magnus, it's going to be so hard to crack that tier 3. But in terms of just damage output, I mean, Luna's excellent. But you have the nice AoE of a gyrocopter and the single target damage of a lifestealer that she's going to have to deal with in the ultra late game, 40, 50 minutes in. And getting to that stage, I mean, unless she's just way ahead, I think could be a little problematic, especially with the Storm Spirit being able to drop the Nyx Bomb right on her face. Counter initiation will be excellent to buy the lifestealer time, but even if they drop the Nyx Bomb just on a... What are the initiators?
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Down on bottom. See a little bit of paint being traded. Doesn't look like either team's going to commit too much to it. The bottom tier 1 does end up dropping. Looks like we're going to have a fight here in the jungle. They get a kill on Storm. Now Rubik being pursued. And there's the lasso. Skewer doesn't work through lasso, but that's okay. Another 2 kills added to their total. 18-7 in typical mistakes. And this is actually not what I expected. I expected to see a lot more 5-on-5 than split. It's not split pushing, split ganking, I guess would be the word. Just trying to spread the map. And there's the disruption onto the gyro. Split Earth, well-timed and cleaned up, free of charge. Tier 2 mid, gonna be their prize as well. So, getting a kill, getting a tower. Now this is what, I'll be honest, in many matches today, a lot of teams have really boned themselves by getting a lot of kills and then not taking anything else after. Typical mistakes is doing it the right way. They're not just getting kills for the sake of it. They're getting towers immediately after. They're getting kills with a purpose. And the last remaining outer tier tower ends up dropping. Bat was looking for a target. Now the creeps see him. They're going to fall back. They could go do a Roshan right now. They really could. Would not be hard. Looks like they're just going to hang for the moment. They've got some good wards down. Some very good aggressive ones.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Here in the jungle. And just to the north of it as well. And they are probably going to get another couple of kills here. Yep, now they're going to be spotted. That's the bat going to flight. No Nyx Bomb yet. Now he'll come out. There's the lasso, though. They end up getting one. Lifestealer still up and fighting. Actually trying to retreat, but there's the Demonic Purge. And RP going to be solo spent on just the gyro. And this one probably put out a reach there. They should get a free Rax. I don't think they're going to have buyback. Yeah, didn't think the gyro would. Lifestealer, no buyback. Close to it, but not quite. So that will be the tier 3 gone. And we'll end up being at least one set of Rax gone.
Dire's middle tower has fallen. Dire's middle barracks are under attack.
They're going to stick with it. Down it goes.
Dire's middle barracks.
Gold, the experience, been out of hand. Up in the 5-figure range of 25 minutes. About 14,000 gold in favor of typical mistakes, and experience 15,000. Now maybe they'll do a Roshan. Maybe. I think teams don't want to do a Roshan anymore. Get a win, go do a Roshan. They've got to deal with their racks right now. They've got to deal with the fact that they've got Megas pushing into their base. Nope, just going to go ahead and back out. Dance around, I guess. Now they're going to go do a Roshan. There you go, guys. Maybe. 4 staff complete on Cakes. And the Manta style now done on the Luna as well. 23-7, 30 kills, split. Pretty ugly. Pain gaming fan. Yeah. And, you know, Pain's reached that point where they have to run his 5 down. They're falling behind in every available metric. And Roche taken. With the Orchid Malevolence completed as well on the Luna. Or excuse me, on the Storm Spirit. And they have a lot to push through. Illuminate, Call Down, Black Cannon, Storm. Bounce out. And I like the way Typical Mistakes is playing this. It's playing it optimally. Take a Roche, take over their jungle, pick a lane, go push. Usually want to push the lane, if you can, that has the enemy jungle on it, because as you're pushing it, if you're slow pushing it, Luna's actually just going to go farm. Runs all the way down here. Didn't have a TP. Doesn't have a TP in her inventory. Hitting quite hard, especially when she's empowered. She's empowered. She's up over 200 damage. Now we're going to have the lasso. BKB popped on the mag. Tried to skewer a lasso target again. And he just smoked. Pretty sure that's what happened. RP. Okay. Don't know that it was worth using on the Rubik. And I'm a sheep. We'll be able to make it away there. Looks like they want to try and split push. And Fano Soyun, 4,000 gold in his inventory now. With a Manta, picks up the Helm of the Dominator straight away. Good pickup. Not just for the lifesteal. Bonus armor, quite nice. And I bet his armor is quite good right now. Yep, sitting at 19. Not bad at all. Mag getting close to a refresher. Has had his BKB up for a while. The Bad Rider sitting on an ultimate orb now. He has 4 staff and blink dagger. And yep, there we go. Demonic Purge. Are they going to engage? Pulled trigger a little too soon on that one. Lasso available in 8 seconds. Luna joining back up with him. Still a little bit of time on the Aegis. About 3 minutes. They do bounce it down to bottom. It looks like they want to make something happen here. Waiting on a creep wave. RP should be back available soon. Yeah, 15 seconds. Spinning on the solo Rubik, probably not the best call they could have made. Just heard a lasso, and they managed to grab the Rubik. So Mill, not having a fun time. 8-1 on that Mag, who's had a great game. 6-2 on the Bat, 6-2 on Luna, 5-1 on Lesh. Great game for everyone. And the refresher now done on the Magnus. And here we go. Gonna rush the tier 3. Pain gonna try to hold on to this any way they can. There's the RP, though, going to be spin. Now that's a good solo target. Here comes the Storm, ready to reinitiate, and the RP spin again, not even really needed. Don't think he got anyone with it, genuinely. And there's the skewer back on the Storm Spirit. He's going to bounce out in the meantime. Bat continuing to burn down the lifesteal. And LS never just really had a chance. It's a lot of force staffs to get him back. But that's going to be your second set of racks down. And probably the GG. I mean, 20,000 gold, 20,000 experience. There's really not much they can do. They hung in it for a while. Gotta give them credit where credit's due.
Thanks.
And Mag tried to skewer back. Lasso's there, though. Cake says, wicked sick, as the announcer informs us. And now I'm going to bounce back out. There's the Vortex. Illuminate connects from out of the well, but yeah, they're basically farming the well right now.
Middle tower is under attack.
And the GG. Pain calls it a game. They just lost in the meantime, but our next to last match of the day done. We still have one more coming up. Team Liquid taking on Pain Gaming, who'll be back in action in their 3rd series right after the conclusion of this one. Very solid performance. I mean, what else can you say? Typical mistakes looking very good and improving their record once again. That's going to take them to 2-1 if I'm not mistaken. Yep, 2-1. So sitting near the top of the standings now, we are beginning to see these teams separate themselves out. 32-8, the final kill score, 30 minutes, 24 seconds. The final game time. Thanks so much, guys, for spending part of your Saturday here with us at the American Dota League. I'm Aaron AC Chambers. We'd love to have you back, not just on this channel, but on everything. So hit follow here on twitch.tv/American Dota League, and then head over to twitch.tv/D2L. And hit follow there. You can also find all of us on Twitter, at American Dota, and at AC for my own personal Twitter, at AYESEE, twitch.tv/ACTV, with links to everything else. Our last match of the day coming up, Pain taking on Team Liquid. Stick with us, guys. We'll be right back.